Alright, exciting times. Got everything marked out. Got a little machine over there ready to go. Going to start some of the excavations and the footings. But before I do that and make it too muddy, I'm going to send the drone up and give you guys an aerial view of what the whole layout looks like. Because yeah, once I start digging, it's going to be messy. Here we go guys, exciting time. About to break dirt, first footing, dirt road home. I'm going to use this little 3-ton excavator, go around and scratch out all the perimeter with a 300 by 300 deep footing, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to auger down with our piers every 1800 all the way around. Once I've done that, up some of the vegetation off the top, we'll get ready to do our slab preparations inside of that footing. Alright, get started. Right, another day for the excavation. Beautiful day, sun's out, a bit better than yesterday. I got quite a bit done, just in the hours of yesterday afternoon. Okay, time for a little drink. Ugh. Tell you what, there's something pretty satisfying about being able to dig something like this by yourself. Now it takes quite a bit of work stopping and starting and filming and setting up this camera, but at the end of the day, to be able to look back and say I dug my house, built my house from the footings, from the ground up, pretty amazing feeling. Alright, so where we're at now is the plumbers have come in. We're just putting our main line down for the sewer down the side here. We want to get this in before we do the excavation, or before we finish the excavation of the footings, just because some of that pipe work needs to go back into the bathrooms and through the actual footing. So they'll get that set up. Once they've got that done, we'll drop our trench mesh and everything in, and then we can actually pour our outside perimeter footing and then get ready for the internal slab. So yeah, it's all happening. So there's always, whenever they break through the footings, it's always going to disturb what you've done. So it's always a bit of a tricky balance when to do that. Probably try and do it as early as possible so that you can then come back in and still clean up after they've put their drainage in and start boxing up and steel and everything else. Like I said, a little bit of the excavation sort of breaks away some of the footings, so we'll need to tidy that up a little bit later. Exciting times, it's all happening. Okay, so we've got all our drainage points in. We've just backfilled around that now. You can see it's starting to rain, so we're battling the weather a little bit. Basically, we've got our footings that we've dug, but we now need to go through and re-clean out, because every time it rains overnight, all that spoil just goes in and sort of fills the trenches back in. So hopefully today we'll get that cleaned out. We've got all the trench mesh laid out. We'll go around, get that in, get a few starter bars tied in place, and then the plumber's going to come back and fill this sewer line down here, backfill all that in. Then hopefully we can get that all tidied up, get some footings in the ground, and then start prepping for the slab. That's the plan. Right, next stage now is getting this trench mesh in. So I've got a 3-bar trench mesh on the bottom, but I've also got these starter bars that need to come up. We're going to pour the footing first, and they get bent into the slab at a later date. There's a little bit of a trick to this. You can put the trench mesh down in there and tie these starter bars on, but what I find is you're bending down into it, you're knocking dirt into the trench. A little trick is to actually put a couple of blocks across like this, tie the starter bars on up the top first, snap the bar chairs on, take the blocks out, and then lower it down. Now, some people may not know this, but I used to be a steel fixer in my former life. My last couple of years of my apprenticeship, my boss bought out a formwork company, and we went from residential construction into sort of more commercial. So yeah, working with this stuff is like a second nature now, but yeah, that was a long time ago. I'll see if I've still got it. Alright, now this is going to be the test. See if I can get into the trench by myself without knocking too much crap in. Could be fun. That was actually pretty successful. Happy with that. So look at this. Great weather, eh? Always the way when you're trying to get out of the ground, there's something that can hold you up. You can never really plan for these days, but it's got to do the best we can. So I've set up a little gazebo, keep the power tools, keep the plants and that dry here, and then just try and work between showers, just try and do as much steel as I can. Got the engineer coming tomorrow at about 3 o'clock, and then pouring Wednesday. We're off on Thursday to New Zealand for a wedding for a week and a half, so I want to get some concrete in these trenches before I go. That's the plan, at least anyway. Fingers crossed. Yeah, well, that didn't end the way I'd hoped to. Didn't quite get all the concrete poured. See behind me here what happened to the trench. I'll show you a bit of a close-up. So to start with, these are the track marks through here that everyone's been using. These are the track marks of the truck driver that decided to drive right next to the trench. Got himself bogged, pushed all that in, so the boys are going to have to hand dig all that out tomorrow. And the worst part about it was, put all the blocks of timber in there, stacked it all up so that when he drove out it wouldn't collapse in. Supplied him a snatching strap. The other truck pulled him out and off he drove. Didn't even say thanks or anything. Yeah, so a bit of hand digging to get all that cleaned out, pull the mesh out and re-pour at a later date. Anyway, it's been one of those days. These things happen. A pain in the arse, but yeah, roll with the punches, I guess. Alright, there you go guys, you got to see our part 1 of our footings being done and our excavation. Now, highs and lows. Obviously it's good to break ground for the first time on the job. The lows was having that concrete truck drive into the trench and collapse it. It took us, basically we couldn't finish the pour in one day, so we had to pull all the trench mesh out the next day, redig that footing, put it all back in, set us back a couple of days actually, so it was a real pain in the butt. Would have liked to shown you more of that, but obviously the concrete truck drivers and the pump operators didn't want to have me filming that whole sort of scenario, so yeah, a little bit old school when it comes to the filming some of those guys, but anyway, here's what it is. What you're going to see coming up next in part 2 of the excavation is all our cut and fill taking place, and we'll get ready for our formwork and concreting. So thanks for watching, guys. If you are new, please subscribe, hit that notification button so you stay up to date with all the episodes, and follow us on our social media channels as well. Thanks guys, I will catch you next time. Cheers.